I have to be honest with you. As a physician, bone broth powder firms frequently approach me. In order to market their goods in my clinic, they provide sponsorships, collaborations, and even lucrative arrangements. They want me to sit here and tell you that their powders will repair your muscles and save your joints, and that bone broth is a miracle remedy. However, I've turned them all down. Why? Because it's not the fairy story that elders want you to believe, and I've witnessed what actually occurs when they make mistakes with bone broth. The market for bone broth is worth trillions of dollars. It is sold, promoted, and exported using glitzy claims and celebrity support. While elders are left thinking they are drinking liquid gold, the industry reaps enormous profits. However, the reality is more sinister. Yes, bone broth is a potent food, but if you prepare it incorrectly, store it improperly, or consume it improperly, it can subtly poison you. I've seen patients who believed that broth was helping their bodies heal, only to wind up in the emergency room with infections that almost killed them, kidney damage, or blood pressure increases. The part that no sponsor wants me to say is this: the issue isn't with bone broth, per se. Because alerting you doesn't generate revenue, no label or powder firm will ever warn you about the faults, shortcuts, or other problems. For that reason, I'm revealing the 6 most deadly bone broth errors made by seniors in this video. Each one, which is ranked from number 6 to number 1, is supported by actual science and anecdotes. You also need to stay for number 2 because practically all seniors make this mistake, which has been shown to silently harm your muscles and bones while you're trying to mend them. And don't just observe before we get started. Leave a comment below. When is your next birthday and what is your age? We're already reading and responding to the experiences that seniors from around the globe are sharing. Don't forget to contribute to this community. Remember to enable notifications and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any crucial advice. Let's start with number 6, and you'll see why your health can be declining more quickly than you may have thought. The 6th is the use of inferior bones. Starting with the wrong bones is one of the most deadly mistakes elders make while making bone broth. Not every bone is made equally. Animal bones from cheap, factory-farmed, or conventionally bred animals frequently include toxic metals, hormones, and antibiotics that are removed during the sintering process. What you believe to be a therapeutic broth may turn out to be a poisonous concoction. The risk is proven by science. Bone broth from conventionally grown chickens had measurable levels of lead, a dangerous heavy metal associated with kidney damage, high blood pressure, and cognitive degeneration, according to a study published in Medical Hypotheses. Because their detox systems, such as the liver and kidneys, are less effective than they previously were, seniors are particularly at risk. Over time, even trace levels of lead accumulate and cause brittle bones, exhaustion, and memory loss. Meet 72-year-old Margaret. After reading an article about the advantages of homemade bone broth for arthritis, she began consuming it every day. Every night she boiled cheap beef bones into soup that she purchased from a bargain grocery store. Within months, she began to experience more regular headaches, weariness, and severe joint discomfort. Her doctor discovered high amounts of lead in her blood following a regular examination. She was taken aback. Her body had been gradually poisoned by the very stuff she believed would help her joints. The answer is obvious. Use only bones from organic, pasture-raised, or grass-fed animals. These sources are much less likely to contain heavy metals or hazardous residues. Avoid purchasing large bags of soup bones from unidentified suppliers and always ask your butcher where the bones came from. Seniors should exercise extra caution because their bodies aren't as resilient at filtering pollutants as they previously were. Small doses might be tolerated by a younger individual, but the harm mounts rapidly after 60, 70, or 80. Only when made from clean, high-quality bones can bone broth be a powerful healing tool. You're transforming a healthy habit into a harmful danger if you take shortcuts here. The following mistake is much more harmful because it can hit you hard with just one serving, even though bad quality bones can poison you gradually. 5th, use solely skinless and jointless chicken bones. Using just plain chicken bones, not including the joints, cartilage, or skin, instead of bone broth is another risky mistake made by seniors. It appears to be innocuous. Bones are, after all, bones. Here's the issue, though. The hard bone itself does not contain the majority of the restorative chemicals found in bone broth. Collagen, gelatin, and amino acids like glycine and proline are released as the connective tissues. The joints, tendons, ligaments, and skin break down while simmering. A weak, watery soup that lacks the very nutrients your aging muscles, joints, and intestines much need is the result of making broth solely using stripped bones. Because the body produces significantly less collagen after the age of 60, seniors in particular suffer. This explains why muscles weaken, joints hurt, and skin wrinkles. Your body lacks the building blocks necessary to repair connective tissue if you don't consume collagen-rich broth, which puts you at risk for sarcopenia, arthritis, and digestive problems. This is supported by science. Collagen supplementation enhanced joint function and decreased pain in seniors with osteoarthritis by more than 40% in just 6 months, according to a study published in Current Medical Research and Opinion. Collagen peptides, when paired with little activity, increased lean muscle growth in older persons, according to another study. Therefore, one of the most potent anti-aging nutrients is lost in broth created without connective tissues. Meet 70-year-old Richard. He began boiling leftover bones from his dinners to make chicken broth once a week. He believed he was taking good care of his joints, but as time went on, his knee discomfort increased and he noticed no discernible change. He was simply utilizing stripped bones without joints or skin, as his daughter, a nutrition student, pointed out. His soup thickened, gelled when chilled, and within weeks his morning stiffness began to subside after he began adding chicken wings, feet, and even leftover skin. At last, he experienced the outcomes he had been lacking. The answer is straightforward. Always add some skin and joint-heavy portions such as chicken feet, wings, or necks while creating broth. These components are rich in collagen and gelatin, which are what give bone broth its healing properties. You're drinking flavored water rather than a tonic that heals muscles and joints if you only use bare bones. Building a house without bricks is like making a broth without joints. Under pressure, it collapses even if it appears complete. This error weakens your broth, but the next one is considerably more dangerous. It does more than just deplete nutrients. In one bowl, it can overload your body with harmful sodium levels. Fourth place, too short of a cooking time. It's not only soup with bone broth. Nutrients are gradually drawn out of the marrow, cartilage, and bones. For this reason, boiling it for too little time is one of the most harmful errors elders make. The collagen, amino acids, and minerals that give bone broth. Its potency won't be released by a fast boil or a few hours on the stove. After 60, all you're left with is flavorful, murky water without any of the restorative properties your body need. The science is here. Nutrient release from bones was studied throughout a range of cooking periods in a food and nutrition research study. In comparison to broth simmered for 12 to 24 hours, it was shown that broth simmered for less than 4 hours contained only 25% of the gelatin and collagen. According to a different study, the longer the broth boiled, the higher the levels of calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, all essential for bone density and muscular contraction. Cutting less on cooking time means you're depriving your body of the very fuel it needs to be healthy, especially for seniors who already absorb fewer minerals as they age. Introducing Alice, age 69. Although she thought bone broth was a great concept, she lacked the patience to simmer it. Every morning she boiled chicken bones for 2 hours, strained the liquid, and drank it. Months passed with little improvement in her energy or joint pain. Her neighbor once advised her to try using a slow cooker to simmer her broth for the entire night. It was a startling contrast. After a few weeks, Alice noted that her morning stiffness had subsided and her digestion had improved. Her broth had become rich, gelatinous, and thick. It dawned on her that she had not been preparing any bone broth. Soup with a bone flavor. The answer is simple. You need time to get the benefits. Beef or pork bones should be simmered for 18 to 24 hours, and chicken bones for at least 12 hours. This can be made simpler and safer using a slow cooker or instant pot, especially for elderly people who don't want to leave a stove on all night. Keep in mind that the minerals, collagen, and glycine you're after don't release too soon. They take time. When a soup is prepared too quickly, it bounces like a check. On the surface, it appears appealing, but it does nothing. The following error is even more concerning because it not only wastes benefits, even though missing nutrients is a serious issue. Because it exposes your body to harmful pollutants, it can actively harm your health. To ensure that you don't miss any more videos like this, please hit the bell symbol, subscribe, and like the video if you have enjoyed it thus far. Third place, skimming neither the fat nor the foam. Fat and foam rise to the top when bones are simmered for hours. Because they believe it's all part of the nutrients, many seniors make the mistake of leaving it there. Here's the issue, though. It's more than simply innocuous broth fat in that layer. It frequently contains proteins, contaminants, and oxidized lipids that, when taken regularly, can cause inflammation, upset the stomach, and possibly raise cholesterol levels. Ignoring this step can subtly transform a restorative drink into a dangerous one for seniors who already struggle with impaired digestion and increased cardiovascular risk. It is supported by science. Skimming fat during cooking dramatically decreased the amount of oxidized lipids in broth, according to research published in the Journal of Food Science. These substances are associated with an increased risk of heart disease and arterial plaque accumulation. According to another study, compared to carefully skimmed broths, unskimmed broths had up to 30% more inflammatory byproducts. For a 25-year-old athlete, that extra load of unhealthy fat might not matter, but for an older person with aging arteries, it's a risky gamble. Introducing Gerald, 74. He took great satisfaction in preparing large quantities of bone broth and sipping a mug each morning. He didn't bother to skim the fat, though. He hadn't made any dietary changes, but after a few months he noticed his cholesterol levels gradually rising. He was alerted to his increasing cardiovascular risk by his physician. Gerald's cooking-loving daughter taught him how to cool the broth so the hardened fat could be removed and how to skim the fat and foam off while it was simmering. His cholesterol returned to normal within a few months, and his morning broth was doing what it was meant to do, healing rather than hurting. The solution is straightforward yet crucial. Use a spoon to periodically skim the fat and foam from the simmering stock. Before reheating, take off the hardened fat cap and place it in the refrigerator until it is cooled. This not only improves the broth's flavor, but also makes it healthier by making it less oily and cleaner. The difference will be particularly noticeable to seniors who are watching their heart health or who are sensitive to digestive problems. Your body should be repaired by bone broth, not burdened. It's like filling your petrol tank with sludge if you leave the fat and foam in. The system becomes clogged, and even while it is risky enough, the next error is far more detrimental because it affects more than just your heart. With each sip, alcohol might stealthily deplete your health and overburden your kidneys. The second is overseasoning or oversalting. Although bone broth is naturally mineral-rich, seniors frequently make the fatal mistake of overseasoning or adding excessive amounts of salt. Many people think that broth should taste like store-bought soups, bold and salty, but there's a hidden risk. The majority of seniors already suffer from heart problems, kidney strain, or high blood pressure. A daily broth habit can subtly push those circumstances over the line by adding too much sodium. The figures are alarming. 77% of seniors currently take more sodium than is advised, according to the American Heart Association. An elevated risk of stroke, heart failure, and kidney disease is directly associated with a high sodium intake. According to a study on hypertension, cutting sodium consumption by merely 1,000 milligrams daily reduced the risk of stroke by 21%. Imagine then that each time you drink your broth, you are adding thousands of more milligrams. What should have been mending turns into a daily assault on your arteries. Meet 71-year-old Joan. She had been making her own bone broth every night, but she always flavored it with a lot of salt and Whelan cubes. Although she had not altered her diet in any other way, She became aware of swelling in her ankles and an increase in her blood pressure after a few months. Tests performed at her doctor's office showed that her sodium levels were dangerously high, putting stress on her heart and kidneys. When Joan's doctor revealed that her nutritious bone broth was high in sodium, she was taken aback. Her blood pressure decreased, the swelling subsided, and she was at last able to eat broth without anxiety after she reduced the amount of salt she used and substituted fresh herbs like parsley and thyme for flavor. The answer is straightforward. Keep the seasoning subtle and organic. Rich flavor can be added without adding extra sodium by using fresh herbs, garlic, ginger, or a squeeze of lemon. Additionally, rather than adding a lot of salt right away, add a pinch at the end if you truly want it. You maintain control over your intake in this way. Seniors should be aware that as you age, your taste senses may become slightly duller, causing you to unconsciously add more salt. However, every grain is felt by your kidneys, arteries, and heart. Instead of being a secret salt bomb, bone broth ought to be a medication. Furthermore, although sodium poses a risk, it is not the most fatal error. Even more startling is the last one on this list, which practically all seniors make and which can subtly reverse everything you believed bone broth was assisting you with. The first is keeping it in the refrigerator for too long. When it comes to bone broth, seniors' greatest deadly mistake is keeping it in the refrigerator for too long. Many people believe soup is safe since it looks and smells great for days. In actuality, however, microorganisms such as Listeria and Clostridium perfringens may thrive at refrigerator temperatures. The worst-case scenario for younger individuals may be a minor upset stomach. However, foodborne disease can rapidly worsen into dehydration, renal impairment, or potentially lethal bloodstream infections in elderly people with weakened immune systems. It's sobering science. Seniors are 4 times more likely than younger persons to die from a foodborne infection, according to the CDC. Additionally, bacterial growth was found in homemade broth experiments after just 3 to 4 days of normal refrigeration. That means that even if the broth appears to be completely safe, the danger increases significantly every day after that window. Meet 75-year-old Helen. She enjoyed preparing big pots of bone broth and storing them in her refrigerator throughout the week. She thought it was helping to strengthen her joints, so she reheated a bowl every night. However, she woke up one night with intense stomach cramps and vomiting after consuming soup that had been refrigerated for 6 days. Doctors at the hospital determined that the bacteria that had grown in her soup was the cause of her food poisoning. She almost lost her life because of what appeared to be a healthy evening routine. It's an easy adjustment that can save lives. Bone broth that has been refrigerated should be eaten within 48 to 72 hours. If you prepare a large quantity, split it up into smaller portions and store what you can't use immediately in the freezer. It is simple to reheat individual quantities of frozen broth when needed, and it can be stored for months without losing its nutrients or flavor. With leftovers, seniors in particular should never push it. Your body is no longer as strong as it used to be. Your health may suffer as a result of what you believe to be time or money savings. It's like playing roulette with your health if you keep broth in storage for too long. It won't be until it's too late that you realize the bullet is there. If you think it's extreme, keep in mind that elders are at genuine risk. One of the most restorative foods you will ever consume is bone broth, but only if you are aware of both its potential benefits and risks. Here are the 6 dangerous bone broth blunders that elders make. When combined, they have the power to transform a superfood that is supposed to be healing into a hidden threat. Using inferior bones puts you at danger for harmful metals. Collagen is lost when joints or skin are neglected. If you cook it too quickly, all you get is flavored water. Your arteries become overloaded when you don't skim the fat. Excessive salt consumption silently damages your kidneys and heart. The biggest error is keeping it in storage for too long, which may turn every drink into a lethal gamble. In actuality, if you prepare bone broth properly, it can improve your health. It can restore the energy you believed you had lost years ago, heal your gut, energize your muscles, and protect your joints, but only if you don't make these errors. I'd like to hear from you now. Are you a bone broth drinker? And have you ever unknowingly committed one of these errors? Leave your response in the comments section. I read them all and respond to each one. Additionally, remember to click subscribe. We provide you with evidence-based senior health advice every week to keep you robust, self-sufficient, and vibrant. Keep your broth healing rather than hurting, be strong, and stay safe. Leave a comment below with any queries or ideas you may have. We would be delighted to hear from you. I'm here to offer you wellness and health advice. Remember to enable notifications and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any crucial advice. Many thanks for watching,